Hi. One of the things that really stops us from knowing our strengths and knowing what our superpower is because for many of us, we've got a real strong inner critic. We've got this like horrible gremlin that lives in our head and says not very nice things about ourselves. It's just our own thoughts, but it's almost like this voice that just pops up and says, that's not very good, you're useless, that's a bit pathetic, nobody likes you, you don't know what you're doing, and all those kind of things that just basically just slagging us off. And for many of us, it's really strong. For some of us, it's a bit more subtle, but we've all got it. And I often ask people this question: if that was a real life person following you around, saying those things to you, how long would it take you before you told that person to do one, sling their hook, get lost, get out your face, go away? I don't think it would be very long at all. And yet for some reason, we let ourselves say these things to ourselves, think these thoughts about ourselves. We let this inner critic, this gremlin, just slag us off all day, and we put up with it. We put up with it. It's almost like a form of self-bullying, and yet we put up with it. And we don't have to put up with it. We can start to do something about it. And I think it's really important that we do, because this critic can really pull you down. And I used to often talk to kids about this idea of having a gremlin, but also having a cheerleader. Having somebody actually, imagine someone who follows you around all day just saying to you, well done, John, that was amazing. Well done you, that was great. Keep going, you can do this, you've got this. Imagine having your own personal cheerleader. And here's the thing is, inside your head, which is stronger, the gremlin, the inner critic, or the cheerleader? For many of us, the cheerleader hardly gets a look in. We shy away from the cheerleader, we shy away from the stuff we're good at, and the praise and the positivity within our own minds, but we're well big up with the gremlin and the inner critic. And I think it's really important that we start to address this and work with it. Now here's one very quick little tip. I found this, that I think what we need to do is put our inner critic to bed. Let me explain that. When my daughter was very young and we put her in a bed for the first time, she'd get out of the bed and come wandering into our room, and we'd have to take her and carry her back in. She'd get out of the bed and wander into our room, and we'd have to take her back in. And we must have done this about 26 times. But what I found was that every time I carried her and put her back into her bed that night, she lost a little bit of her will to fight. She lost a little bit of her strength. So at first she was kicking and screaming, but then she'd lie down for me. And by the end, by the 26th time I did that, she'd get out of her bed, look at me, and get straight back in. And I think our inner critic is a bit like this. The more you can recognise it and go, no, get to bed, I'm not having you, I don't need you, I think it loses its will to fight. It almost starts to give up its power. Its control over you gets less and less and less. I think it's really important that we learn to put our inner critic to bed. So there's your weekend challenge. If you hear that inner critic this weekend, acknowledge it, put it to bed. Say, no, I don't need you right now. And let's have a look and listen to what your cheerleader might be saying. The good stuff about you, the positivity about you. I hope it's going to make a difference. Take care of yourself. See you soon.